fans, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, then hello, my name is Meg and I am cabin crew. For a UK airline, I predominantly post cabin crew content such as travel vlogs and Q&As, cabin crew lifestyle, things like that. Today's video is going to be along those lines. I thought I would film a pros and cons of being cabin crew. I did take inspiration from this video from Shannon Townsend. She is also crew for the same airline as me and she's also a YouTuber. She filmed a 5 things that I wish I knew before I became cabin crew video, which did give me the inspiration for this video, so I can't take the credit for it. Thank you for the inspiration, Shannon. I hope you don't mind me making this video and I hope you don't think I'm copying you. If you guys don't already watch Shannon, by the way, I definitely recommend her. She's so cute. She's a really good vlogger. She vlogs in public, unlike me. Her name's just Shannon Townsend on YouTube and she's another cabin crew vlogger. So she also loves Disney. So if you are looking for another cabin crew YouTuber to watch, she's the one. But anyway, I feel like I've kind of always wanted to talk about the pros and cons, but just never really done it. Obviously, this job, a lot of people just assume that it's all good all the time. To be honest, it is an amazing job and there's no other job like it, but of course it has its cons like any job. That's what we're going to talk about today. I've written down 5 pros and 5 cons, so I'm going to do like pro, con, pro, con, pro, con. You get the drift. Let me just get out my little list that I wrote. Obviously, majority of these are going to be generic for airlines, but some of them might be quite specific to my airline. Can't speak on behalf of all airlines, but I think that majority of them are as similar as they can be. So the first pro of the job, and probably the reason most people want to do the job, is to travel the world for free. I have visited some of the most amazing destinations with my airline that I could have only dreamed of visiting before I was crew. Maldives, I've been to the Bahamas, Bermuda, Barbados, Mexico City, Cape Town, Johannesburg, Los Angeles, New York, Rio de Janeiro. Like, I could sit here honestly and name them all day. Some of these places, like, there's just no way I would have been to them if I was never crew. And it truly is the most amazing thing to kind of wake up for work one day and think, oh, today I'm going to the Caribbean, or today I'm going to America. Not think, oh, today I have to sit and reply to emails all day. No shade to people that work in offices. I plan to do admin work when I have a baby, but I can imagine it's not anywhere near as exciting as knowing that you're going to fly somewhere, get to explore the world. I know for a fact that when I'm not crew anymore, I'm not going to have that excitement every month of when my roster comes out. I'm not going to be buying summer clothes in the winter because I've got a summer destination that I'm visiting. There is no job like it, honestly. It's the most amazing job. Not only do you get to travel for free, but you also get paid to do it. So, I mean, is there really any better way to travel the world than to do it for free and to get paid? However, going into my con, this job comes with a variety of different cons, but one that's kind of linked to what I've just mentioned is being away from home all the time. I'm away on average 2 to 3 nights a week, dependent on what trips I do. Personally, I don't mind being away. Like, I don't really struggle with it. Me and my boyfriend always say that we actually get on better because we have that time apart, we have the time to ourselves, and then we come back together. It depends on the kind of person that you are and the kind of relationship that you have if you're in a relationship. I know for a fact that I couldn't have done this job when I was like 18 because I would not have wanted to be away from home all the time like this. It can be quite lonely as well. As much as you go on these trips and sometimes you'll have the most amazing trip, you'll be out doing something constantly, you'll go and see the sights, you'll do literally so much with the crew, but you'll get some trips like the one that I've just done. I went to Washington DC, my last trip, and the hotel that we stay in is lovely, but it's not really got anything nearby. The only thing that's nearby that you can get a shuttle bus to is the mall, and not everyone wants to go shopping in a mall, especially in America, because it's so expensive. Sometimes you're going to get those trips where you don't really do anything and you kind of just stay in your room. I mean, I literally left my room to get food and to go to the gym when I was in DC. As I said, I'm the kind of person, I love my own company and I like being on my own, so I handle it quite well. I enjoy it. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like being alone and needs company constantly, you would probably struggle with this aspect of the job. Let's go into another pro. So I've put meeting new people because some of you may not know, and it's not the same at all airlines because some have really small base and you do fly with the same people a lot. But at my airline, we have, I think it's 12,000 cabin crew in total at my base. I'm based at London Heathrow for reference. You rarely ever fly with the same people. Like sometimes you'll see a name on your roster and you'll think I've flown with them before, or you'll see someone in the briefing room and you'll recognise them. It's usually the people that you didn't really have like a massive connection with, like you don't remember them. The people that you actually become friends with on trips and the ones you wish you could fly with again, you'd never end up flying with again. Meeting new people. So you fly with new people every single time you fly, and you also have new passengers every time you fly. It's not like working in like a pub, for example, which is what I did before I was crew, where you have the same regulars coming in every day. You build relationships in those kind of jobs, but in this job, you kind of have to be very adaptable and very able to kind of make friends quickly. I mean, I will literally do a trip with people and I'll be best friends with them all by the end of it. I've still got some group chats from previous trips that we still talk in because we just had such a good trip together. The only thing with being crew is, especially when you're all based at a London airport, most of you don't actually live near each other. I obviously live in West Sussex, but people live all over. People live in like the West Country, people live up north, people live in different countries and commute into London to work. So even if you do end up becoming friends, it's difficult to actually see each other outside of work because you don't live anywhere near each other, and also your schedules are probably different, so you never have the same time off. Imagine your job that you have now, and just imagine every time you go into work there's new people there. It probably sounds quite daunting, but when you're crew, I promise you just adapt. You just adapt to whoever you're with and you will become best friends instantly. So that is the pro, but the con to it is obviously you make friends and you end up not seeing them again. But then on the good side of that, when I worked in my job that I was in before I worked at EasyJet, I had people at that job that I could not stand. I used to dread going into work because I didn't want to work with them. I used to be the kind of person that would just confront drama head on, but as I've gotten older, I just really can't be bothered with it. A lot of the girls that I work with, particularly at that pub, were all very young, a lot younger than me. I just felt like I'm not going to even bring myself down to this bitchy schoolgirl level. Like, I just can't even be bothered with it. It made my working life difficult because I was just there to do a job. I didn't even work there because I wanted to work there. I worked there whilst I was waiting to start at EasyJet because I had bills to pay and I needed money. I really didn't enjoy that job, and part of the reason I didn't enjoy it is because of the people I worked with. On the good side of that, if I'd known that every time I was going into work I was going to be with different people, it would have made life so much easier. So on the odd occasion that you will fly with someone you don't get on with, you don't have to fly with them the next time you fly. So that's the good side of it as well. Another pro to the job is you get a lot of time off. I compare my job, considering I'm full-time, you can go part-time at my airline, but I am full-time. I compare the amount of time off I get to the amount of time off my boyfriend gets. I mean, he works Monday to Friday, so his days off are the weekends and that's it. If I exclude today, because today I technically volunteered to work on a day off, the only days I'm working this week are Friday and Saturday, because technically Sunday I'm off because I'm going to Larnaca. It's a standover, which basically means I get 2 nights there. I land early hours of Sunday morning, but then I have the whole of Sunday off in Larnaca, so I don't really count that as a working day. My full-time week's work is literally working Friday and Saturday, and that's it. Not next week, but the week after, I have a 3-day Barbados, and I'm working the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I go back to work on the Sunday, so 4 days of work. I rarely ever do more than 4 days of work, to be honest. Sometimes with short haul you can end up doing more days, because obviously with short haul you're not as limited on the amount of days you can work, but with long haul especially, you can end up having more days off in a week than days that you worked. People do go part-time at my airline, like people with kids and things like that, but some people just go part-time just because. Fair enough to them, but I kind of already feel like I am part-time, so I feel like if I was to go part-time I'd be bored. You do get a lot of time off, more time off than I know any other job to get. There is a con. So as much as you do get lots of time off, like I said, you're away a lot, and sometimes it can be difficult to get time off for something like a birthday or a wedding. With my job, you have to book your leave quite far in advance. If somebody said to me, it's May obviously at the moment, if somebody said to me, oh, I'm having a birthday party in June on this weekend, can you come? I can't book that off now because my roster's already being made for June. I would have had to have booked that off in like December if I wanted that time off. You can bid for days off. I'll get into bidding in a minute. So if you did have something last minute that you needed off, you could bid for it off, but obviously it's not guaranteed. So until you actually get your roster, you're not going to know if you can attend or not. You do miss things because you'll be away. I actually have my best friend's birthday meal this month, which I can go to. I am off the day of the meal, but I'm going to work the next day. So it kind of not ruins my night, but it means that I have to be home early, can't drink, like can't do any of that. Same with like in August, it's my uncle's 50th and he's having like a big barbecue for it, and I'm gonna try and get it off through bidding, but I can't guarantee that I'm gonna get it off, so I still don't know if I'm gonna be able to go. I have gotten quite lucky in the past, like last year my cousin got married in June and it was quite a quick thing. They got engaged and they got married really quickly after they got engaged, so I didn't have enough time to book it off, but just by luck I was actually off that week, so I was able to go to it. But had I not been off that week, the likelihood of me being able to go to my cousin's wedding would have been quite slim. Obviously with a wedding you do normally get quite a lot of notice, so it's a bit different, but you can miss out on things. And obviously with a lot of like office jobs, I'd say, and a lot of like term time jobs, you don't ever have to worry about working over Christmas because you just know you're going to get that time off. But with this job, there's always the possibility you're going to be working over Christmas. You have to work hard to try and get it off on leave, or if you don't get it off on leave, then you can be strategic with your bidding and still try and get it off, but you don't have that comfort of knowing that you're not going to be working Christmas. And that's something that's like, I'd never want to work at Christmas. Like, that's one day of the year that I just do not want to work. Even if I get a really nice trip, I just don't want to be away from home on Christmas. Like, I want to be at home, I want to be with my family, the people that I love. I don't want to work Christmas. So that's one thing that I struggle with, definitely, with this job. To be honest with you, I've always had jobs where I've had to work over the Christmas period. I've never had to work Christmas Day, touch wood. I've always had to work like Christmas Eve or Boxing Day. I've always had those kind of jobs, and I am looking forward to one day having a job where I don't have that concern. So I've written 2 different pros, which I'm gonna kind of combine into one because they're kind of related. So I've written staff travel and bidding. So bidding is basically a preferencing system. Every month you can place your bids for the following month's roster. So you can bid for anything. You can bid for time off, you can bid for a certain trip, you can bid to avoid certain things. A lot of people that live quite far away bid to avoid there and backs because they're just not fuel efficient for them. I used to do that back when I first started, but I actually don't mind the odd there and back now. You can bid for a week pattern, so you can bid for like weekends off each week, but obviously all of this doesn't mean you're necessarily definitely going to get it. It's just a preferencing system. Again, one thing that I don't think you would get at a regular job, like for example, my boyfriend can book time off that is part of his annual leave, but he can't like every month bid and say I want to work like Monday to Wednesday that week, or I want to do this amount of hours, or I don't want to work this day. Like, you can't do that in any other job, and I think that's a massive pro. And also staff travel, so you can use your staff travel yourself to travel yourself. It's not free, but it's very cheap compared to the full prices of the tickets. You can also use staff travel to take people away with you. I've taken Barney to Cape Town and the Maldives. I've taken my best friend to LA, and I'm also taking my mum to Larnaca with me this weekend. So not only do you get to experience traveling the world, but you get to take people along with you as well. The only con to staff travel is that the ticket you get is a standby ticket. That's why it's so cheap, because it's not a definite ticket. You only get a seat on the plane if there is a seat available. So when you are taking someone with you, it can be quite nerve-wracking. I was very anxious when I took Barney to the Maldives because I was very junior in the company at the time, and it's based off of seniority, who gets a seat and who doesn't. He did get on, but he was sat on a jump seat, which is the seats that the crew sit on. It wasn't the most comfortable journey for him, but at least he got on. But then the flip side to that, when I took him to Cape Town, he ended up in business class on the way home, which was amazing for him because it was a night flight, so it meant he could lay flat, go to sleep. I'm glad he got to experience business class because, again, any premium cabin on a plane is the sort of thing I'm probably never going to get to experience if I'm not crew. If I was actually going on holiday, I wouldn't want to risk a standby ticket, because what if I don't get on the plane and I've paid for accommodation? And it's okay if there's multiple flights a day. But for example, Barney and I are going to Punta Cana in Dominican Republic next March for our friend's wedding. But we're not flying on staff travel because there's only one flight a day, and I do not want to risk that. I'd rather know that I'm getting on the plane. As much as it would be lovely to pay a quarter of the price of what we are paying, I just don't want that anxiety. So that is the con to staff travel. But we're not, you know, staff travel is a luxury. It's not a given. It's not something we should be entitled to. It's a luxury that we have at my airline, and I'm really grateful to have it. These were all my pros, and then 3 cons that I've written down are: the job is physically exhausting. I don't think people understand how tiring our job is. They think, oh, you're just serving tea and coffee and serving food in the air. I'm not gonna lie to you, 90% of the time that is what we're doing. We are predominantly there for safety, and remember that your cabin crew are on board the plane before you get on and on board the plane after you get off. When we're on that plane, we're not just like having a dilly-dally and having a chat. We're completing safety related duties. We are checking the equipment that we have. We're checking we've got it all and we've got the right amount and that it's all in working order. We are security checking the plane, checking that there's nothing there that shouldn't be there. When you get on board, we are, you know, making sure all bags are away. Before we take off and we secure the cabin, we're making sure you're safe, your seat belts are on, your seats are upright, your armrest is down, your window blinds open. Like, there is a lot of safety and security related things that we do before we actually just start becoming waitresses in the sky, as people love to call us. Not to mention the fact that when we do our 6 weeks of training to become cabin crew, literally about 10% of that training is customer service based. So 10% of it is, this is how you serve drinks and food. The rest of it is all firefighting, CPR, anything medical related, security, safety related. Like, there's so much more to learning to be cabin crew than just serving some tea and coffee and a meal. However, I saw a meme that said, I don't get offended by being called a waitress in the sky anymore, because I hope and pray every day that I go to work that all I have to do that day is serve food and drink. And it's so true, because I'm very lucky. I've never, touch wood, had anything really major happen on an aircraft. I've had like kind of minor medical situations happen, but nothing that bad. I've never had like a fire or anything like that. So most of the time my day-to-day work is tea, coffee, gin and tonic, chicken or vegetarian, you know what I mean? I love it that way, and that's the way I want it to stay. But just remember that your crew are not just there for that. Like, we're there for so much more than that. Also, remember that your cabin crew are working that flight. The flight that the passengers are sat down watching TV or doing whatever, we're standing up. We're walking up and down that cabin a million times. We're busy serving. We're busy most of the time that we're on that plane. We do get a break on long haul, but the break isn't anywhere near as long as the time that we're on duty. The job is physically exhausting on your body. My feet hurt after every single flight. You're on your feet for a long time. I don't think people realise how long we're actually on our feet for. I can't even explain to you like the level of tired I feel after a long haul flight, particularly, especially a night flight. Sometimes you can be at work when you're supposed to be asleep, when all of your loved ones are asleep in their beds at home. You are on a plane in the sky working your ass off. You can work incredibly long hours if you do long haul, but also if you do short haul, because there are some short haul days that can be very long days, like 12+ hour days doing multiple sectors. Being on an aircraft as well, I want you all to think, anyone that isn't crew, I want you all to think about how tired you are when you've been on a plane. No matter where you've come from, traveling is tiring. And just because we're crew and we do it all the time doesn't mean that we don't feel the same amount of tiredness that you feel. We still have to get up early. We still go to bed late. Short haul is tiring in like a really long day at work way. Long haul is exhausting in a I haven't slept, I'm physically and mentally exhausted way. I can't even sit here and explain to you like how tiring the job is. It's worth it. And I will get over my tiredness, especially if I'm somewhere amazing and I just want to go out and explore. I've been straight out before and not even slept after a night flight, like when I went to Cape Town and the Maldives, because I had Barney with me. I was like, I'm not sleeping, we're just going to make the most of the day. I've literally had days where, like, there was a day once where I got back from a New York night flight back home and I went straight to a baby shower. I got home after the baby shower and I didn't even know my own name. I was so like, you could have said anything to me and I would not have known what you had just said. Brain wasn't even working properly anymore. When I did, I had a little nap and then Barney woke me up for dinner and I'd only been asleep for like half an hour. And honestly, I didn't know where I was when he woke me up. I was that tired. And this is what brings me into my next point. I've put lack of sleep and no routine. For example, when I was on my way back from Washington, DC, I was eating a rigatoni pasta at 5:30 in the morning. How many times have you woken up at 5:30 in the morning and thought, do you know what, I fancy a pasta bake? steak. The reason I ate that is because I was on Washington time and it was dinner time. Well, it wasn't even dinner time, it was the middle of the night at this point. It's hard to kind of stick to things. If, for example, if you are strict on your diet, it's difficult to stick to a strict diet when you're crew because you're awake at times when you would normally be asleep. Sometimes you'll just eat whatever is on the plane because we eat the passenger food, we eat whatever's left over. You can bring your own food, but sometimes it's not always possible and you do just end up eating the passenger food. It's not good for you. It's full of salt, it's plain food. Eating that meal that's not good for you on top of eating it at a time where you shouldn't actually be eating and you should actually be asleep, it's not good for you. I considered, there is a musical theatre like society around where I live and I considered joining, but I would never be able to commit to the times and dates that you have to go because my week's different each week. One week I might have Monday off, but the next week I might not. So you can't really commit to any kind of like routine based activities. So like if you were going to go to yoga on a Tuesday, you might not be there every Tuesday because you might be in the Bahamas. Yes, that's amazing. You might also just be doing 3 days of short haul. Like you can't really like have a routine to your life when you're cabin crew. You can try and kind of get the same work pattern each week, but it's not always going to happen for you. Obviously it's sleep being the big one. Because we do miss night's sleep and we get up early and we go to bed late and we're constantly jet lagged, it does affect you on your days off. On Monday, it was bank holiday. I had gotten back from Washington the day before, so I'd done a night flight. I'd napped in the day, but landing days were right off for me. I say this in all my vlogs. I am never fully energized until the next day or maybe even the day after a landing day if I've flown through the night. So on Monday, Barney and I went shopping and I was like exhausted by about 2 p.m. I was like, I need to go to sleep. I'm so tired. Like I honestly could have just gone to sleep for the night. Both of us were tired, to be fair. I do think shopping is a tiring activity, but it does affect you on your days off as well. I can't remember the last time I looked in the mirror without makeup on and thought, well, you look alive. I feel like I just look exhausted constantly. No matter how good your skincare routine is, and you do need a good skincare routine when you're cabin crew because your skin goes into different climates constantly. It's on an aircraft being dried out. I obviously sleep in makeup when I sleep in the bunks on my long haul flights because I'm not going to take my makeup off and redo it. That's just going to cut into my break time. So it's not good for your skin. So you have to have a good skincare routine. And when you're on your days off, you do kind of need to spend them like rejuvenating and kind of making yourself feel human again. Having said all of that, guys, the job is an amazing job. I just wanted to be honest with you all about the bad points to the job. I'm not sitting here saying don't be crew, and I'm not sitting here saying I don't love it, because I do. It's the most amazing, surreal, unique job you can have. So rewarding, but very exhausting, and you do have to kind of prepare yourself for it. I hope that you all have the information you need before you become cabin crew. I hope I haven't put any of you off. There's no job that I would recommend more to anyone. It's literally the best thing ever. I love going to work. Even today, I don't feel like it's a burden going to work. I don't really ever feel like I'm doing a day's work, because as much as it's tiring, I just love it, and it's so rewarding that I just don't feel like it's work. I hope I've inspired some of you. If any of you are looking to become cabin crew, do it. There is no better time to do it than right now. Please do DM me on Instagram if you have any questions about the job, the application process, anything like that. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Please do give it a big thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss future cabin crew content. Love you all so much, and have a lovely rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever time of day you're watching this. I will see you in my next video.